What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've posted, and it's mainly due to I was having some issues with my voice, and with my job, it required me to use my voice 8 or 10 hours a day. So that plus trying to record videos on the side, it made me very hoarse, and it just made it really, really difficult to actually be able to do my job. So I had to kind of step away from the YouTube game for a little bit, and but now I've been able to rest my voice some, and I really wanted to give it another go and really give this a shot. And because I really enjoyed making the videos, and you know, it was one of those things to where you kind of hate stepping away from it. And so I really want to give this another go, and you know, try some things. You know, of course, drink like lots of water or whatever the case may be to kind of, you know, keep my voice and things from going completely out. But I wanted to do a video, and I've wanted to do this video for a while. It was actually one of the videos that I had in the works before I had to kind of step away from everything. And it's one of the things that, you know, I always like to ask someone who's into paranormal like I am. And that's just kind of, you know, what event or events got you into the paranormal and you know, established your beliefs in the paranormal and things. And it's always kind of interesting to hear others. And of course, I mean, that would make for a very boring video. So I kind of also wanted to kind of go into detail on some of the things that that got me into the paranormal, and you know, just kind of cover those and talk about those. And of course, you know, I hope to see, you know, lots of comments and things of some of the things that you guys may have experienced and that would have gotten you into the paranormal and things like that, because I love to hear those things. And of course, you know, it's just one of those things. I mean, it's always fascinated me. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, and I've never known why. But I guess, you know, in discussions with my mom and my parents and things, and you know, just kind of talking to them about some of the places that we had lived. I guess the earliest would have been maybe when I was 3 or 4, and we had lived in this house. And the funny thing is that the house that I'm currently living in, it's, you know, it's not even, you know, I can see the ruins of the house that actually my mom and dad were renting at the time that they experienced these things. So it's kind of funny, you know, because I look at the house and I kind of think back and think about some of those stories and just kind of wonder, you know, what was actually going on. But anyway, to kind of get to the point here, my mom and my dad, they would tell me these stories about, this house, and you know, it wasn't anything really crazy. To my knowledge, they never saw anything. It was just mostly hearing things. Whether or not they were just telling me that because at the time I was very young and they did not want me to be up, you know, all night with nightmares or whatever. But you know, basically they would just, you know, they would be laying in bed, and you know, it'd be very late at night, you know, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever. And they would hear like silverware being shuffled around in the drawers. And, they would hear, you know, doors closing, you know, people, you know, someone walking around. And then when my dad would get up to go and investigate, he would not see anything. There would be no one up or no one in the home. And, other than them and me, of course. But at the time I was only 3 or 4. So naturally I wasn't up wandering around at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but nothing, like I said, nothing crazy really happened. It was just more or less sound. But yeah, I remember my mom and dad telling me about this, and it was just one of those things that I kind of wished I could think back and really recall if anything happened, because, you know, from the things that I've heard and things that I've read, you know, it really appears that children, they see these things more easily than adults. So it could have been something that I may have actually been able to have seen. But unfortunately, you know, at that age, I just simply do not recall it. And then one of the other things that I remember, and this is one of those that it just kind of shows you that things that are paranormal are not necessarily evil. And sometimes it may just be your guardian angel or whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. And this was this was when my aunt was very young. She may have been, 8 or 10, whatever. And, she was running around, my grandmother's old home. And, she had seen a man that, she did not recognize. And of course, being a child of that age, she automatically turned and ran into the home and, was telling my grandmother, what she had seen. And as she was describing the man, my grandmother said she realized really quickly that she was talking about her great uncle. And then my grandmother got up and actually went and got a photo of my great uncle. And of course, the crazy thing about that is that it ends up being the apparition that my aunt had seen. And, kind of the way that the apparition was looking out for my aunt was maybe 15 minutes or so later, my grandfather had actually came in because he had killed a rattlesnake that was maybe 20 feet in front of where my aunt was actually running to. So the fact that she saw this apparition and this apparition actually caused her to turn around and run back into the home, it may have saved her life. Because at the time, this was in, the mid-60s, and in rural Appalachia where I live, at that time, there was little to no medical assistance or anything like that. It would have taken them, 45 minutes to get to the hospital. And of course, by then, it being a rattlesnake and my aunt being very young, she may have very well died from that snake bite. So in a way, the apparition really did save her life, and she's here today because of that. And one of the more vivid things I remember, and this is one of those things, I actually did a story. I think it was my very first YouTube channel or YouTube video on this channel, was actually about this. And it's one of those things that when I think back about it, my hair just kind of stands up, and it's just one of those things that's always chilled me. And it was just this old house, and just looking at the house, you would have never thought anything of it. It just looked like any other old ran down abandoned house. But the thing is, I remember I would be riding my bike by this house, and I would hear the doorbell, it would ring. And of course there was no electricity to the home. And, I don't even know if there was a doorbell at the place, to be honest. I never actually went and looked. I mean, I was only, maybe, 7 or so at the time when this was going on. So I never really, and of course at that time I was too scared to even, go to the front porch to investigate anything. Because as soon as it happened, I just kind of darted out of there, got away as quickly as possible. And then later on, I had actually walked past this place because I would be coming from my uncle's or whatever, and the road, would lead past this old car. There was it was an old yellow Lincoln. It was one of the big, mid to late 70s Lincolns. So it was like a huge car. And it had sat there for many years at the time. And, I would have to walk past this to actually get back to my home. And, there was one night I was walking past this, and I don't know, I looked over and the interior light of the car was on. And the car had sat there for so long, I'm certain that the battery would have been long dead. There would have been nothing left in the battery. And, of course I ran straight home, and my dad, he said that it was likely a pole lamp or a street lamp, something like that was glaring off. But, just looking back at that, I don't think that was the case. You know, but it could have been. I mean, when you're that age, you know, you see things and you automatically, you know, your mind races, you know, to, you know, the worst thing possible. So, but I don't know. I mean, I look back on it now and it's like I said, it still frightens me, the things that I'd seen, at that specific place. And, probably the worst and most frightening thing that I've experienced, even to this day, would have been me and my cousin. We had just got home from basketball practice and I remember, you know, we were standing, you know, in the driveway of my house and we were, you know, it was directly across the street from this old house. So, you know, if you look over, you could see, you know, what's going on over there. And in the top in the upstairs window, there was this face. I mean, there's no way to describe what it was. It was just like a red face that was hooded and it was just really, really one of those things that it sticks out in my mind very clearly to this day. There was really like no features, you know, that I could describe other than the fact that the face itself was red, with of course the black hood and the black eyes and things like that. And I mean, it was just one of those things that me and my cousin, I mean, when I just looked at it and I said, you know, do you see that too? And we both saw this thing in this window. And, you know, there was just, you know, we basically turned and made our way to the house as quickly as possible. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things that I just close my eyes. If I'm thinking about it, I can see it just like it was yesterday. And it's probably the scariest thing I've ever encountered, dealing with, you know, paranormal things and things like that. But the house has since been tore down and, there's a lovely old lady that lives there now. And to my knowledge, she doesn't experience anything. I've actually asked her several times and her husband many years back when he was still alive, I would ask him if they've experienced anything. And, you know, they say they haven't. So, it was apparently whatever it was linked to the house. You know, and since the house has been tore down, you know, the actual, sightings and things and the activity has ceased essentially. So, that's just a few of the things that I can kind of recall off the top of my head. I'm sure if I really sat down and, you know, really thought about it, I could probably think of many more and I may actually sit down and do that. And this video, it's not going to be as crisp and clean as some of the other videos that I may have done. I'm really not, you know, trying to script anything. I just kind of wanted this one to be, kind of a, you know, an unedited, version of, you know, the memories and things that I've recalled over the past that kind of frightened me and really got me into the paranormal. Of course now, you know, at this time, they don't really frighten me. They interest me more than anything. So, but you know, I would really love to hear, you know, your guys' thoughts and, you know, hear, you know, what are the things that's happened in your life that's got you into the paranormal and, what's made you a believer essentially? Because, yeah, I know that everyone's had that event, you know, that just really makes them, you know, just step back and say, can this be explained? You know, and I just really want to hear those. So definitely, I mean, in the comments below, definitely leave a comment. And, if you enjoyed the video, definitely like and share it. I would really appreciate that. And if you haven't done so yet, join the channel. I'm coming back. I'm going to try to do videos on a regular basis. I'm really going to push myself to try to do daily videos. I'm not sure how the voice will hold up to do that, but I think I'm going to try it. I'm really going to give it, you know, an effort to see how my voice does. And I think I'm going to do things a little less scripted. I was doing a lot of stories and things, so I was, having to read the actual stories, but I think I want to do things more like this, just kind of unedited and just kind of let things flow as they will, and see how that goes. But I definitely appreciate everyone that's watched my videos, and everyone that has subscribed already. I thank you a great deal. And I look forward to making more of these videos. Have a great evening, night, day, wherever you are, whatever time it is.